Macquarie. It's a beautiful beachside region, but I know there's an awful lot more to do around here too, especially if you've got a few more horsepower.
Red's back and she's back with a vengeance. You'll notice the custom snork, and it's got a set of Baja LED lights on top. The high lift jack's been bolted back on. We've rearranged the tray a little bit, and the AMS guy's tuned it right up, so now it stops as fast as it goes.
If you're into tough four-wheel driving and epic campsites, then this is the video for you. And I've also got cracking news too. Get 10% off store-wide at 4-Wheel Drive Supacentre. That's 10% off winches, spotlights, and heaps more gear. Just keep an eye out for the exclusive discount code in this video. And of course, enjoy the adventure.
You know, it's getting harder and harder for Australians to take their families out into the bush. Wherever you look, they're shutting off the tracks, they're gating things, they're closing down whole areas. And it really annoys me, and I think we've all got to do something about it before we lose it. These parks are here for us, and that they're beautiful, and that our kids benefit from seeing them instead of TVs for a change. Now, what can we do about it? Well, I'm not sure yet, I'm really not, but I do know that we all have a part to play in this. My part, I think my mission is to get out there and find as much of this country as I can before it disappears, and to record it so that at least we know what we're fighting for in the future. I mean, look at this beautiful scenery. The amazing Australian wildlife. Driving to make your heart race. The mateship that comes from sharing a big adventure. Come on, mate, keep going. Come on, Dan, into it. A little bit more there, please. The wilderness you can feel in your bones. So let's get out there and find some of these tracks. Well, let's see what we can do to save them. And let's have some fun while we're at it too, eh?
Port Macquarie's pretty much halfway between Sydney and Brisbane, stretching from the Pacific Ocean west right up into the Great Dividing Range. There's all sorts of terrain up here, and it's the greenest it's been in a long time. Dan and Kirsty Boswell, they're down from Rockhampton, and they've got a very nice GU patrol.
Oh, g'day.
This is John Ruth. Dan, mate.
Nice to meet you, Dan.
This is Kirsty.
Hello, Kirsty. This is a nice rig, mate. She's pretty clean.
Yeah, keen to get out there and do a bit, eh?
We're going to find some really tough stuff around here. And you know why I know that? Because I saw the meanest missing ever here. I'm going to go and find out who owns it and ask him. He should know what's happening around here, I reckon. Good. It's great to meet you guys.
It certainly does look like a mean four-wheel drive. Those 37-inch tyres give away the game. There's got to be some tough stuff around here.
G'day, mate. Hello, mate. All right, thanks. Hey, listen, there's a jacked up Nissan Patrol out here, big tyres on it. You don't know who owns that, do you?
Mate, that's Bruce's, mate. I'm pretty sure he's at the back.
Oh, right, eh? Good on you. Thanks very much. How you going, guys?
Hey, there's Roothy. How you going?
How are you?
Bruce.
Nice to meet you, Bruce. Donnie. G'day, Donnie.
Yeah, have a seat.
Oh, well, I'd love to, fellas. John, out in the pub, he was telling me that that's your GQ out the front.
Yeah.
It looks like a bit of serious gear.
Yeah, it gets me around the tracks, yeah.
Well, I bet it does. And you got the map out too. You planning the trip or something?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're planning on heading out this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair dinkum. What's the situation around here? I mean, everywhere else, you know, National Parks has got in and either put gates in or tarred the roads.
There's not many national parks around here. It's mostly state forest, and there's hardly any gates.
Nirvana. And where are you off to now?
Well, we're off up to Ogo State Forest.
Right, eh?
Yeah.
I see. Oh, and here's Lake Cathy.
We're down here, Bonny Hills, yeah.
Oh, okay. What sort of a drive's that?
It's a fairly difficult. We'll take the long way around and do the good tracks.
You've done it before,
We've
haven't
done it before, yeah. Actually, we've got to go up there because Donnie doesn't know this yet, but I lost one of the 35s. I just sold him
you? Fair income.
up there. Yeah, I had to change a wheel, and I must have forgot to do up the nuts, and it just popped off. And by the time I got out of the car, and it was gone.
It's gone shot off into the bush.
Shot off into the bush, and
Yeah.
I couldn't find it, and it was going on dark, so we've got to go back and find it. Yeah.
Hey, you don't need some extra blokes to come and have a look, do you?
Oh, actually, that'd be fantastic. I'll put a carton of beer on whoever finds it.
Throw in a carton of beer and we're yours.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Oh,
yeah.
Bruce, that's unreal. Look, I'll go and let the guys know.
Yeah, yep.
When are you heading off? Fairly soon?
Yeah, we're heading off.
Finish this and we'll be out.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you at the front of the pub.
All right, we'll see you then.
Excellent. Beauty. Hey guys, if you're wondering what we're doing here, that big patrol up in front of us, the GQ, that's Bruce and Donnie. They're locals, they know their way around here. It's Bruce's truck. We'll just use this clear patch here if you haul up there, Bruce, and we'll all deflate. It'll be cool.
Bruce's GQ stands out, and for good reason. It's got a 4-inch suspension lift, 2 inches of body lift, and 37s. Double lockers fitted, an aftermarket turbo, and he's even got an air tank in the rear bar. Very clever, very cool. If Bruce needs all these modifications just to drive his local tracks, how am I going to go with a couple of inches of lift and 31s? Ah well, time will tell. Donnie has a GQ of his own, but since adding 38s, he's been having trouble with the gear ratios. That's why Bruce sold him a set of his old 35s. Oh boy, it's all big tyres up here, isn't it? Good reason too, as I found out later. Our trip is starting from the Queenslake State Forest. From there we're making our way out to the Kipper State Forest, where Bruce has some plans for us. To finish, we're going to make our way east again to the Bago State Forest, and that's where Bruce is hoping to find the wheel that came off his GQ last week. We start the day off at the Powerlines track, and there's no mucking around, we're straight into the action. Just as I expected, Bruce got through no worries.
Well, gone precisely 250 metres, and I'm bellied out. Oh, you already got one? Whoa! I can keep mine clean. Okay. Thank you, kind sir. Well, if you just go straight ahead, Bruce, and I'll try and get out of the rut. Yeah, I think that might be the best way. You might wind up pulling me through the rut, but with a bit of luck I'll bounce out. We'll see what happens.
All right, you right to go?
Yeah, mate, thanks. Thanks, mate. That was beautiful.
Whoa, I think we'll take this track a bit more seriously in future. Hey, I suppose you better check the depth, eh?
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
No. Go on, Jack. Tell us how deep it is. All right, so it's swimming deep there and it's all right in the middle. But I guess the best thing about this is it's not very long, so we should be able to launch into it and straight through. Here we go. Righto.
And then this is it. We delve into the depths of the Australian bush. It feels like an escape from the rat race, like the start of a real adventure.
Oh, look at this. It's stinking hot out there with the sun all over us. And now we've ducked into a bit of old rainforest. And it's cool in more ways than one. It's beautiful, actually.
Hey Ruth, I think there's a passion fruit vine right next to the track here. Bit of bush tucker.
Bush tucker, passion fruit. Too cool. I'll come up and have a look. Oh yeah, look at that. Grab it, mate.
Very nice.
Oh, look at that. This is beautiful.
That's good.
You don't have any ice cream in your fridge, do you?
No, sorry.
What's up through there, Bruce? Bit of a dip.
Yeah, a bit of a dip. There's a bit of an old log bridge in there. There's a few boards missing, but
Oh, yeah?
we should be right.
Solid.
It's pretty solid, I think, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, we'll head
stuff.
through.
You know, for me, the best tracks are all about contrast, I guess. And this is a classic case. There we were, open grasslands, mud all over the place. And we've just taken one little turn and now we're in the middle of an old rainforest. And I can't even see the tops of the trees up there. There's branches all over the place. Signs of old logging all the way through, real old logging too. You know, that would have been done in the axe days. Bit of a wooden bridge here. Logs look nice and tight. No dramas. Oh boy. Bit of drama up in front though by the look of things. It's squishy and it's horrible and a couple of huge ruts here.
Now this is one of those typical wet ruts that you find sometimes in the rainforest where everything else around it has been sun-dried with a bit of a crust, except for this really deep rut. And my issue here is that I'm just not wide enough to go over the thing. Try again, Bruce.
Well, right here.
Holy I'm right, Jack's not.
What's saving it here, though, is of course the side of the truck is leaning against the bank, so I can't fully roll over. So it's kind of worth hanging in there. Just see what happens. Life's exciting when you're sitting at 45 degrees, I find.
There's nothing up high. We can put a strap on and wrap around the tree as we pull you through. Or
We can't go backwards?
you might tip up further if you go backwards.
Pretty much resting on the tray.
I think I might just stop and have lunch here. That could be the best alternative, just a quick lunch
Probably
break.
come back. Yeah.
Oh, look, how about I try going backwards first?
Well, no traction on one side because it's in the air, no traction on the other side because it's in the mud. All the motor in the world won't get you out of here.
Must be sitting pretty hard on something.
Yeah,
You want to push me backwards?
we'll give it a push here. Come on, Donnie.
Righto, here we go. Not moving much.
How about a bit of witchology from the rig?
I think so. Oh. Hey, look at this. Look at this. The dog can't wait to get out. He says, I'm not doing that thing again. Hey, Jacko. Gee, that's an angle, isn't it?
That's not bad, yeah.
Part of the problem with something like this is that it's a whole lot easier to get through with big tyres and big clearance, of course. But when you do go through, the first car through brings up the moisture, so the second car, the big red truck, tends to sink right into it. Basically, it's been softened up, then I've come in slightly the wrong angle, a little bit confident,
and chewed it up some more, gone back for another go, bang, instant cheese everywhere. And the funny thing is, the surface looks pretty good, but scrape that top 1/4 inch off, and there's 2 months worth of rain just sitting there, waiting to trap red trucks.
Keep eye contact with me, Donnie. You right, Don?
Yes, mate.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
What have we got on that side?
How about a bit of weight on that right hand side?
Can't really do anything at the moment. That's it. Beautiful. It feels better already. Guys, don't hop off.
It's worth pointing out that with all the bar work Red's got, I managed to drop right into this hole, hammer the side of the truck, and still, at the end of it,
Thanks,
I had
guys.
one slightly bent rear mudguard.
That one
Good work, Donnie.
was 3 blokes off falling over. Just as she came back, it just went another little bit. I could feel it getting a bit of swing in it. And it was only the boys hanging off the edge that held us straight. I reckon I might have to shout them lunch. Well, maybe a sandwich in the bush anyway. Cool, what are we doing now, guys? That was fun. Sorry guys, but I've made such a mess of that. I think we've only got one alternative, and that's to fill this up, bung some trees in it. There's a lot of fallen timber around here. We should be right for some good sticks. We may wind up winching off that tree up there too, just to pull it over a little bit.
Take it a little bit to the left.
Yeah.
That's what the attraction was to me.
I think we're going to have to winch. We'll never get up that bit unless we fill it right up.
Unless you can get to here and then slip across the bank and up that bank there.
Oh yeah, yeah, possible. Look at that. I mean, I've dug that down to 4 or 5 foot now. Oh well, that's what you get when you take an old miner fishing. Who wants to stop for lunch first?
Splendid idea.
Right.
Well, you're not bad on it, are
Well, Roothy's got himself stuck down there and couldn't get through, so we've got to, there's a few dead logs in the bush over here, and we're going to go and just chop them up with a chainsaw a bit so we can lift them and just drop them in the rut and try and fill the rut a bit.
You know, when you're travelling in this forest country, when you never know what to expect, a chainsaw is a really handy thing to have. You can probably see the way Bruce handles timber that he's a chippy during the day. I reckon he can handle just about anything. He loves his off-roading, this guy. And his family, of course, is from sawmilling stock. So you might say that give Bruce a chainsaw, he's right at
You
home.
guys need management on this job? A little bit of help?
bit of foreman.
How about a bit of direction? Yeah, there you go, see? That's why we travel with lots of people.
It's only the very start of our trip, but already everyone is banding together, working as a team. There's nothing worse than being out in the bush with a group of people and finding out that there's one person who doesn't pull their weight.
Yeah, I love this supervising caper. Jack. Oh, look at that. I see you left the hard bit of dirt for me, Dan. What we've decided to do here, Bruce's suggestion, and it's a good one, we're going to try and get Red into about here, where it will then probably slide into the ditch on its own. But what that'll do is not push those logs out of the road. It'll have had a wheel on the log by then, and it should be able to climb. Now we're hoping to get about 15 feet up and get enough traction to go to the left. In other words, get out of this big rut right before the end. If we can't get out of that big rut right before the end, we'll have to stop, cut a few more trees and do that. As far as driving Red in this country goes, I'll just have the rear locker on because I need as much steering as I can get to get out of that ditch. And with the front locker on and no power steering, I've got no chance. So we'll give it a go and see what happens, eh Bruce?
Yep, give it a go.
Good on you, mate.
Logs in a rut do two things. They give you that little bit of extra height so you're not bottoming out, and of course they provide you with lots of traction. Couple of logs and I reckon I'll be through, no worries. Whoa, listen to that V8. Well, once Red's through, we've got to get the other trucks through. Shouldn't be too hard because they're all capable vehicles. Donny's Prado's probably got the least ground clearance of the lot, but of course we've jacked it up a bit with these logs, so he should be right.
Bruce is doing the guiding because he pulled me through, so he got to see what it was like outside the truck. I think in these situations it's important to stick with the successful person who did the guiding and get out on the road when Donny's in the truck.
We needed to get the left-hand front of the truck over to the left-hand side. But of course the back end didn't want to shift because it's still deep in the ruts. So it sort of required overcorrection and then correcting back. Nothing that anyone here couldn't handle, just added to the fun really.
He really likes that, doesn't he? You can tell.
Very thrilling.
He gets really excited when he's pulled a good one. And that was a good one. Sideways, locked up, bang, bang, bang. Traction control comes in. Prado gets out of hole. It's not bad stuff, that traction control. Right, who's next for some carnage?
Roothy and Don's been through. A little bit easy with the logs on, so a bit of front lock and we'll see how we go.
It might be Dan driving the GU, but it's actually Kirsty's truck. He's got his own GU ute back at home. And Dan doesn't mind driving it hard, I can tell you.
Same deal again. Whole thing here is we want to avoid panel damage. This is Dan's good truck.
We'll have to put a winch on it.
We'll just take you off that tree, eh? Probably want to come through here.
Working under sweat getting the leaves through.
Next up has been in the 80. You know it's going to get exciting because Glenn's driving. He's a mean man on the wheel and this truck's got some power. Oh, too easy, Glenn, too easy. Geez, a cool, collected guy on the wheel, isn't he?
Cool, very cool.
Before we set up camp, there's one last track we have to get through. Rocky Hill.
Hey, come on, mate.
Oops, Jack reckons it's steep already.
Yeah, it's not too bad this one, Ruthie. It's just it's fairly rocky and slippery.
Whenever Bruce says it's not too bad, Ruthie, I sort of panic a little bit, you know?
That's a rock, is it? Not a log? Or have you cut through a log? Oh, okay. So we go through the middle of that?
Yeah, straight down through.
That's all right. I love going downhill in my big V8.
Bruce has got a Gearmaster low range just like Red, and his diesel goes down hills beautifully with lots of engine braking. Oh, Red's pretty good too. The Gearmaster's made the difference there, and I can lock my automatic in low, 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 and away we go. Look at the suspension work in that GQ. Wow, Bruce has really evolved his truck into something very, very suitable for this Port Macquarie hinterland. My big worry with Red poking down hills like this is that if the engine stalls, which is always possible, suddenly I've got no brakes. Well, I've got no steering to start with, and then I've got no engine braking either. You know what? Just makes life more exciting, really. The Prado hasn't got the ground clearance for this sort of country, but Donny's getting a real handle on this wheeling caper. He's been doing it for a while now, and he's right into it. Not much going to scare Has Been. That's why we stick him up the end. Well, after a long, hard day in the bush, it's just beaut to sit around a campfire and relive some of the events of the day. This is how you get to know each other on a trip like this. We told stories of great battles we'd fought and won in the past, and thought of the big ones yet to come. Especially that one with national parks that's on the horizon.
Get more for less at 4-Wheel Drive Supercentre with incredible deals on Adventure King's camping and outdoor gear. Take your camping experience to the next level with the amazing Grand Tourer Mark III aluminium rooftop tent, the rooftop tent that practically sets itself up. King's portable gazebos are built ultra strong with a tough steel frame, are easy to set up even by yourself, and are available in multiple sizes for the campsite or the job site. The incredible new 270-degree freestanding awning can be set up in just 40 seconds and wraps around the side and the back of your car for incredible amounts of shelter. Hit the water on a King's inflatable stand-up paddleboard for an insane amount of fun at the beach, the river or the dam. But warning, it's highly addictive. Plus there's fridges, solar panels and more to make every adventure incredible. At 4-Wheel Drive Supercentre, you get more for less.
That was a great night last night, eh?
Mate, nothing like sleeping under the stars to get one ready for the tracks the next morning.
What are we in for today, Bruce? Looks like a big one.
Yeah, we've got a few good hills today, a few nice hill climbs. We've got a clay pinch and then we're going up Heartbreak Hill.
Heartbreak Hill, eh? Let's hope it isn't. Do we know why it was called Heartbreak Hill?
I don't know, there's a sign on it, and I've been living here 20 years and the sign was there before I came.
So what have we got up here, Donnie?
A little clay hill, it's short and sharp.
Sounds like a bit of excitement, mate.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a bad one sometimes.
This is Heart Tremor.
Heart murmur.
Heart Murmur? Mine just took a murmur. Is that where we're going?
Bruce is straight into it. Just another day in the office for old Bruce.
Bruce has to take the hard line.
Bruce has really worked this thing over. Apart from the big tyres, the suspension's lovely and soft, the lockers at both ends, and he's doing a great job of it too. So far it's all too easy. Look at the grin on him. Red Truck's going to do it a bit tougher, of course, because it's got the little wheels.
Both lockers in for this one right from the start.
When you're running smaller tyres than everybody else, the important thing is to check your line out properly before you go anywhere.
Taking a slightly different line, I'm going to the right. Don't quite have his suspension or tyres. And it worked. Oh gee, it's hard to steer. Front locker off. For the rest of it, easy. Sort of.
Next up is Donnie, and with the 33-inch tyres, well, he's got a little bit of a chance on this hill. I'll tell you what, Don's getting so good at this stuff. He's also proving how capable the Prado is. And he does take advantage of those 2JM bash plates underneath the engine and the gearbox, trust me.
Yeah, quite appropriate, Heart Murmur Hill.
Whoa, here comes Dan and Kirsty. Kirsty's thinking, this is my truck, Dan, you take it easy. But you know what? This Boswell kid, he is really good on the wheel. He's shown us several times now, and by this stage of the trip, we're starting to really trust him. Watch the way the GU just walks up the hill. He makes it look a little bit too easy, I reckon. Go back and do it again, you muck. Go on. He told me later he had the front locker in for the last bit. Good idea.
Oh, this is a hill. Okay.
Has Been usually gets to see him right at the end because he's running up the backside of everybody. And as usual, Gleno's got a different approach. He's going to take it real easy all the way until the lack of traction, then he'll give it a bit of a stomp. Why does he do that? Because he can. Because this diesel is tuned up to make torque all the way through. So he can walk it up or he can stomp it when required. And he can do both.
Nothing like having to use double diff locks.
it means it's a good hill.
Whoa, what do you got here, Bruce? This looks tough. One of the tricks in red is never lock up the front diff locker until you want to go straight in a straight line, because you just don't steer with that front locker in. Donnie always seems to pick the Prado perfect lines, doesn't he? Look at that. Bounces it around, no worries at all. Good on you, mate. Traction control, that works brilliantly in that truck. Now I can hear Kirsty saying, Dan, you dent my truck, you're walking home. But he doesn't care. He's just steering it away from the bank. Well done, mate. After Glenn sees us all crawl up that without any major issues, he decides to be a bit of a show-off and take a harder line. Huge ruts on the left, mate. And he does it like it's nothing. Well done, Greno.
We're going to head around to Heartbreak Hill now.
Now, Bruce, give us a quick rundown of this next hill, mate.
Fairly steep, not quite as steep as that last little one, but there's a few little ledges on it that we've got to step up, and there's a few roots at the top. It's dug out around, a bit gravelly, and yeah, it should be a good climb.
I'm looking forward to it already.
Yeah, me too.
We'll go up that one, then we go up a bit further. There's another couple of obstacles up further, then we end up at the top of Jolly Nose, which you've got a fantastic view right across the coast and north and south and west.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
I think you'll like it.
So this is the bottom of Heartbreak, Bruce?
Yeah, mate, we're there.
Now, the approach to it looks a bit challenging, John.
Well, the run up to it looks pretty challenging.
You're going to get a shock when you see the track then.
Oh dearie me, look at this.
I think we better pull up here and go for a bit of a walk.
I'd rather go that way. This is a particularly tricky hill, this one. It's got all sorts of ditches, it's got lots of logs on different angles, roots, tree roots running across the track that have caused different erosion gullies, different surfaces. You got rocks, gravel, lots of sandy stuff. This is going to be a tricky little drive. And where did you get when you came up?
Oh, I made it to that route up there.
Okay.
And that was it.
But there's a number of small little rock steps.
Yes.
Which aren't too much of a problem.
Well, I guess if you get beyond this route, you can pretty much climb vertically up anything anyway, so. All right. What do you reckon? We're going to give it a go?
Yeah.
I reckon. We're here. Righto.
Walking back down might be a bit interesting.
Good on you, Bruce. We wanted to kill a hill, you've certainly delivered. And look at that! Bruce, with his big tyres, his big suspension and his big diesel, he's just bouncing up there like a rubber block on the end of a pencil. Mate, go the GQ. You can tell how steep it is though, because he's picking up the odd wheel here and there. Like a country for sure. And look at the grin on his face. He loved every bit of that, didn't he? Bruce took the right-hand line. I'm going to try for the left-hand line. Now I'm going to have to take a slightly different line. My technique with the smaller tyres is to lock the throttle on at a fairly set rev and let the truck work its way to the top rather than try to bounce it all over the place. I can't use the front locker either because there's too much steering involved in this track. So the front locker will become a get out of jail card and that's all. Here we are right at the top. Hey, all right, yes!
Oh, here we go. like his left-hand line too.
There's no stopping Don these days. He just can't hold back. And on this track, all the power in the world is exactly what he's going to need. Come on, Donny, give it the berries.
We're going.
Good work, Roothy.
Thank you, Gleno. We took a couple of hits and we worked hard, brother.
Those hits Don's referring to were caused by that tree root that's sticking out.
Dan's already shown us he's a good man on the wheel, but this hill is going to test him. He's got the right truck for it, I reckon. We'll just see how he goes. It's a tight one. Donny's already done some panel damage here. I reckon Kirsty's going to be into Dan if he does the same. He's probably got incentives not to.
Might hang on for this one.
It's a bit of a walk in the park, Kirsty. What are you complaining about? Dan just pokes the Nissan where he wants it to go and off it goes.
And we have made it. Woohoo!
Done real well too. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you saw that, but there was just a second there where I thought he was going to lose that tyre when it spiked that stump. But somehow he must have just cleared it. Well, this is it, Dan. That's where you did it. There's no real damage, but you could have lost that tyre there, mate. Yeah.
My legs are shaking.
I don't know if you noticed, Kirsty, but there was a stage here, right there, where you were on two wheels.
Oh.
You were on the back wheels.
I'm glad I know that now, not whilst I was in the car.
One more to go.
Righto.
Jeez, this is steep.
You know, being Gleno, I kind of expected him to roast it somewhere. You know, give it the berries and do a little bit of low flying, but that's too steep even for him.
Wasn't a berry hill.
No, that's too steep even for Glenn. That's all right. That's excellent.
I knew that tyre took a belting. It's gone down. So the hit that tyre took was a big one after all.
No panel damage though.
No panel damage, Kirsty.
That's good. All that stuff can be fixed.
No damage
hidden.
to the seat covers?
No. No.
Righto. We're nearly at the top of Jolly Nose, but it's a bit of a work from here. We've managed to do Heartbreak. A little bit of damage. We've got a spiked tyre here. So while the guys are fixing that, we're going to split the pack, mostly because there's no way in the world we can get all the way to the top in one swift, easy motion before we need to go camping. So half the guys are going to go and set up camp, get ready, and Bruce, Low Mount and myself are going to take an alternative trek, see if we can get to the top. And the reason we're going to do that is because the scenery up there is spectacular.
Yeah, it's a spectacular view up there, John. It's fantastic.
Righto, let's go and do it. Wow, get a load of this. This is the view from on top of Jolly Nose. And you know what? There's no way in the world you'd get up here without a really good four-wheel drive, a modified four-wheel drive. This is our sort of country, folks. Magnificent.
And it is too. It's a shame the others couldn't join us for the trip up to Jolly Nose, but at least we can show them the footage later on.
How's your GPS, Glenn? You got the same as me, haven't you?
It's fantastic for, you know, in and around these little forestry tracks. They're all marked on there. I'm quite surprised.
I got this thing functioning. I can see where we're going. I've logged the track. seems really accurate too.
Yeah, another cool function I found yesterday, you can find exactly how far we travelled, how long we travelled for, and all the coordinates.
Wow, check this place out. It's beautiful. And all to ourselves too. Oh, good on you, Bruce. Well done, Donnie. This'll do me.
Mate, it's a good ending to the day. We've got Freshwater Creek running down there. We're all going to go and have a bath first. It's been a hot, stinking, dusty day. It's going to be good.
Well, before we head off to the creek for a swim, we've got to set up camp. So let's find a bit of firewood first before we're scratching around at night trying to look for it.
I feel like a new man. Actually, I feel like a new woman. Can we organise one of them? Don't tell the wife.
Camping in a place like this with the river running right through the backyard, life just doesn't get any better than that. Come on guys, this is beautiful. There's nothing like it at the end of the day in a dusty truck, hop into this beautiful fresh water. Just amazing.
Well, we camped down here on the banks of the Wilson River up behind Port Macquarie. This is Donnie, you've already met him. He's been running winch cables and all sorts of stuff. Don, you come camping here with your family a fair bit?
Yeah, we come up here once a month at least if we can, so
How
we're very
lucky.
lucky.
You are very lucky. This is an awesome place, it really is. And to go with an awesome place, we've got an awesome recipe. Scott's come up with a recipe which is one that I've never tried before because I've never cooked lamb shanks before at all. Now, what is the recipe? Well, it hasn't actually got a name, has it?
No.
We'll have to come up with a name. Scott drove a Hilux for the last 8 years, a 2.8 diesel. You know, the old 2.8
The old
diesel.
boat anchor.
The boat anchor, I reckon, slowest truck on the world. But get a load of this, 660,000 clicks he clocked up, or maybe he didn't, but the Hilux did. And Scott was telling me he's been up the Cape a couple of times, he's done the Gibb River Road, he's been all over the place, you know. That, to me, is an awesome effort, especially in a boat anchor. It's pretty good, isn't it?
It is good.
Yeah, well, I reckon that's our name, you know. Lamb shanks, Hilux 2.8. Let's knock up Scott's boat anchor shanks. Righto, we'll kick into it. Out of the angle, we've got to pull out some shanks. Pile of people to cook for tonight. There's 11 of us all up around the campfire. Seem to have attracted a few ring-ins, but that's all good. They bought their own. Now, it starts out with lots of garlic all chopped up. Mate, what we got to do, it's dead easy. Whoops, it's not dead easy. The knife won't go in. Stab the lamb and poke the garlic into the stab holes. Garlic and lamb goes together like lamb and lemon. In fact, lamb, lemon and garlic goes together really well too, but there's no lemon in this one. I've only prepared a whole one here, and we've got 8 to go. But the other thing, Scott, you keep going, mate. Don't stop, don't stop. Keep going, Struth. Pretend you're in your GQ. His GQ isn't going at the moment, by the way. Shh. Is it broken?
No, don't tell anyone. GQs never break down.
GQs don't break down, do they? No.
They just rattle themselves to bits.
Not like old Toyotas. They're just bits all strung together with a bit of wire, in my case. A little bit of the old olive oil in the Baduri. We're using a Baduri. Dump a bit of gas into this thing. Whoa, that was enough gas. I've been doing that to the red truck all day, dumping gas into it. I think we're up to about 10 miles to the gallon. Actually, no, it's doing 13 miles to the gallon. That's 4.9 kilometres to the litre. Slightly more expensive to keep in liquid than me. This is the rosemary. Slap it on, slap it on. The rosemary helps the garlic to stick too, so that's working out all right. And then we need a bit of oil. Gee. The oil's pretty slippery. Righto, so we've got, very simply now, we've got garlic stuffed into it, we've got rosemary all over it, and she's in the pan. Have you done this one, mate?
Yep.
You're fast. Until you're in your Nissan, then you've got to be slow. I understand that.
I don't
That's
know.
all right, mate.
Not
What
all of us
size?
can have a V8 in it.
What size tyres you got on that thing?
Oh, I've got 38s on it at the moment. They're just
Yeah.
me play tyres.
Are they?
Yeah.
I saw it sitting down the garage. This is big tyre country too. That's another thing it's got in common with the high country, eh?
Oh, big ruts everywhere.
Big ruts everywhere.
If you don't keep up, you get stuck.
If you don't keep up, you get stuck. You know what? That's exactly what I found out in the high country. Okay. The old shanks are starting to get a bit of a brown, and you know what the best part about this is? They smell unreal. That's great. This is just a couple of plastic bags we got going here. Our producer assured me that these would be liquid tight. That's why we got two of them. Righto, a little bit of oil in the bags. Sorry about it. They're just spuds. Not even clean. Although it was funny because Scott mentioned that a really good way to scrub spuds is just to scrub them with salt water. I've never done that, but it's the sort of thing you could do down at the beach, isn't it? You know, like take your spuds down, give them a scrub. There you go, mate.
Yeah,
looking good. Chuck them in. Now all we've done there is coat the spuds with a little bit of oil, and look at that, they work beautifully. Oh, good stuff. Now we'll have another go at that. This time we've got pumpkin, whole onions, just taking the skin off them. I took the skin off the pumpkin too. That's something Scott doesn't do, but hey, you know, got to do something different. And I've got a handful of mushrooms, only because we had some. Pretty much one of those things where you use the veggies you've got. In they go. Hang on. Oil.
Bit more oil.
Bit more oil, yeah, lots of oil. Can't beat olive oil. Give them a scrunchy, mate. That onion's going in, that's mine. I want that one. All right, now at this stage, I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir, which is a bit hard. We'll turn the gas off. Now, I like to live dangerously. Garlic, lots of it. Scott also likes to live dangerously. He said chuck in a whole clove. That's about that. It's probably about 3 or 4, but there's a lot more of us than there is in your family, I'd reckon. Okay. And rosemary. Now come the magic ingredients.
Appropriate.
There we go. Scott said something about half a bottle of the old plonk. Sorry, red wine. I'm going to use a little bit more because we've doubled up on just about it. Oh dear, the whole lot's gone. Never mind. And another miracle ingredient. A VB, Scott, in your honour. Scott Humberstone, this is your meal. Now, it's as simple as putting the lid on, bunging it in the oven. Well, we don't have an oven, do we? But bunging it in the fireplace. Scott did mention that it takes at least 2 beers to cook. But that's at least 2 hours that it needs to be in there, I reckon. Probably 3. So we'll see you in about a 6-pack. There you go. Scott, she's out of the fire. Let's see how it looks. What do you reckon, Donnie? Can you get the lid off?
Smells good.
Smells good. Oh, look at that. This pot just wasn't big enough for all this tucker. But of course you won't be cooking for 260 people, will you? So it won't be so bad. Okay, it's ready. Some veg. I'm not restricting your veggie intake here, Gleno. I'm just having trouble getting them out.
It's nice in there.
Looks good.
Mm.
Oh, I forgot the salt, mate. There you go, you can't have lamb without salt. How are we going with it, mate?
Mate, we've been a bit dainty. Cooked well.
Cooked well?
Tastes good.
Tastes good?
Good on you, Scott.
Well done, Scott. Your boat anchor shanks have proved to be a hit. Now we're going to feed the multitude with them.
Get more for less at 4-Wheel Drive Supercentre with insane deals on King's DIY storage and 12-volt gear to build your dream 4-wheel drive. Whether it's an inverter you need to run 240-volt gear on the job site or the campsite, a battery box or a 12-volt control box to easily access your power, King's 12-volt DIY gear is what you need to take your 12-volt setup to the next level. Need a battery? King's has you covered with a full range of AGM, slimline and lithium batteries in sizes ranging from 98 amp hour to 200 amp hour. All built with ultra high quality components to go the distance. And of course you just can't beat King's solar panels and blankets to silently charge your batteries anytime the sun's out. At 4-Wheel Drive Supercentre, you get more for less.
There's nothing nicer than sleeping to the sound of running water and waking up without a worry in the world. Nothing to rush for, no appointments you're going to be late for, no traffic, no work to bother you. Our biggest worry was who was going to wash the dishes from the night before. The tyres on the camera cars needed rechecking and Don was right on the job. Such a helpful group of people, the best kind. And after we'd all packed up, it was time to bid farewell to a cracker campground and make a start on the day's challenges. Driving these tracks, it's easy to get caught up in the beauty of your surroundings. You've got to remember though that at any turn there could be a huge logging truck coming the other way, and they don't mind travelling either. On the other end of the spectrum, it's just as dangerous if you come roaring around the corner and there's a great big earth mover sitting in the middle of the track. Tell you what, they make a good roadblock. So to minimise the chance of accidents, State Forest has implemented a 60km/h speed limit. Barnes Trail, the track where we're heading now, is the place where Donnie and some mates got stuck for 3 days last time they attempted it. Now Donnie reckons that this track was about 500 metres straight down. I reckon it was more like 1 kilometre or more. And I'll tell you what, anything you can barely walk, you're going to have trouble driving down. Problem here was that it was just too slippery.
See, look at that, look at that. The only reason we can actually physically walk this is the leaf cover on top. Underneath, look at that. And that's what the tyres are going to be on. So this is going to be like one of those sleuth tracks in Victoria where you just, woohoo, kick back. With one big exception, there's no big ruts, so there's nothing to hold your vehicle in a line.
No good being stupid and tearing the track up as well.
Guys, I think we might have to call it a day. Sorry.
I hate making decisions like this, but sometimes you've just got to. That track was just so slippery, it would have been a month's worth of work to get anywhere down there. And all for what? Nothing we couldn't see just around the corner.
Hey Bruce, what's this creek crossing you got in mind like, mate?
No, it's not too bad, like the rest of the tracks. There is one spot there though, you sort of balance your chassis on it a bit.
So Bruce, that's you on 37s with a 10,000 inch lift. How the other car's going to look?
Well, from what I've seen so far, you're doing a really good job and I think you'll probably all get through.
This is a beaut little creek and we've got to drive up it. The problem with this creek is that there's been an awful lot of water through here recently, and so we're not really sure where all the big holes are. It's been known to eat a truck or two too. So we'll just have to feel it very slowly. And of course the big hazard is going to be the rocks too. There's all sorts of rock ledges to deal with. They're not such a drama, except that they're slippery because of all that water that's been down this creek recently. And so that can cause some big damage.
Lockers.
Having seen Bruce go through, I knew where the worst holes were already, and I avoided most of them, but it still wasn't that easy. Sounds just like a speedboat once the water gets up over the exhaust pipe. Oh, crunch. See the rock. Anyone who says Prados are a bit of a soft truck these days should see this one in action. All that TJM underbelly protection really makes it quite a hard unit.
Keeping left.
Now by the time you're the third vehicle through, you should have a fairly good idea of what everybody else has had problems with. And that's the case with Don. He's negotiating this really well. Oh, they're such a cool couple, aren't they? Dan and Kirsty just weren't pressured at all by this creek. Dan had already seen 3 vehicles go through, and he knew from the Prado experience where to watch his back end, so he just lobbed in and drove it, one end to the other, nice and gentle.
Nice work, Dan.
Beautiful, babe. No bangs.
Nice.
Very good. Very nice.
Here comes Captain Accelerator, except that Gleno's been very, very soft on his vehicle this trip.
You lock her in?
And of course, being the 4th truck through, Glenn's got another issue. All the other trucks have carried water out of the holes and up onto the rocks, so his lack of traction extends further than anyone else's.
Here we go. Get a bit of traction. Oh, it's quite deep.
Oh, what have we got here? A bit of a tunnel.
Bruce told us about a small clay pinch that wouldn't be anything too difficult. Just a little bit of fun off the side of the road, he said.
Watch out, Tom, they're going to floor it.
Well, if Bruce has got a struggle, it's not easy. Okay? Pretty hard. We've watched Bruce drive that GQ just about everywhere, with total ease thanks to the big tyres, soft suspension, and a local knowledge that's really hard to beat. But no, this time he's hit something he's having troubles with. Oh, beauty. Can't wait to have a go at this. Now with the big tyres, Bruce's best bet is just to stick to the existing track and give it the berries. And that's exactly what he's doing. You can hear the old homemade turbo screaming away there. It's working though. Mate, you're nearly there. The problem in this setup is you just don't have any time to get acceleration. There's no distance at the bottom of that slope. You'd probably just run the truck straight into it if there was, to be honest. But there's no launch pad either, and the tracks that have been cut are just the wrong dimension for the Nissan's wheelbase. I don't know what you're going to do there, mate, but more power seems to be your best option. Well, that's it. The GQ's stopped. And not through a want of trying, but because it's knocked one of those big bags off its rims.
Yeah, we've got a tyre off over here. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a winch out here.
Come on, Donny. About time we saw you do some work, mate. Poor old Donny. He's had to do all the winching on this trip. I'm glad he didn't bring his truck, though. It's got 38s. We might have had more trouble coping. In this case, we got lucky. There was a strong tree right within Cooey. There's not much Bruce can do here except drive it on that flat bag. There's no way in the world you could change that halfway up a hill. But as soon as he's got it out of the road and on the flat, he's going to pull up because he doesn't want to do any damage. And now it's Red's turn. Well, I've had a look at this. I had a good long look at it. And I reckon the only chance I've got with my smaller tyres is to cock it up on a bit of a diagonal and hopefully bounce over so that I'm straddling the gutter instead of trying to drive up it.
You better believe it. Man, that must be under some tension. There we go. Have I got 4 tyres on rims? So that's one to the Toyota. Yeah. Under the front or?
No.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that was better than coffee for a wake up. That was immense. I'm kind of hoping Donnie will try this track over here. It's not that easy either, really. In fact, it might be good for one truck. We'll see how we go. The other guys are very capable drivers too, and we've got some capable machinery, so we'll see what happens. But of course, the big problem here is this wet clay. As soon as you've turned over at once, man, it's slipperier than banana skins, it really is. Gee, it's good fun though. Righto, Donnie, it's your turn, mate. Oh, he took the other side to start with.
And of course, Don ends up making Bruce and I feel like fools. The chicken track served its purpose that time. Hey, but we're here to have some fun.
Took a whole different line and planted it at the end there. Hey, that might have been a chicken track, but he did it. It was beautiful.
Well, Dan and Kirsty took the easy way too, and they made it look even easier than Don.
Here comes the big right foot job.
Well, after seeing that, Gleno figures the chicken track was way too easy, and he's always keen to see how far he can push his 80, so that's exactly what he did. Now, like me, Glenn figures the best option is to slide over to the left, lean up against the tree, and see if there's a bit of traction going on over there. And there is. It's not enough, unfortunately.
I'd have another go, mate. Bit of left hand down.
Because the bum of the car is burying into the mud every time she slides backwards. Now, bear in mind that I've already stirred most of that track up on the left-hand side, so Glenn's done pretty amazing to
Just
get that
hang
far.
in there, give us 2 seconds. We're going to knock a couple of logs into place.
We're going to chuck a few logs in, see if we can get Glenn a bit of traction first, just in case. Logs, rocks, whatever we can find.
Old supervise. You might be able to actually bounce up to the next stage, if you see what I mean. I think it's probably a good time for a bit of berries.
Oh boy, not often you got to tell the has-been to use berries. Whoa, there he goes.
I don't think you're going to do any better than that, so I think we'll winch just this last little lump.
Not often we see the 80 on the end of a winch rope.
We gave it a go, didn't make it, but I gave it all I had. Gave it everything, mate, gave it.
Wow, that was good fun.
Well, you know us and bog holes. We just can't help ourselves. Doesn't the mud look awesome there, eh? Oh boy, it's almost like ballet watching a four-wheel drive go through a bog hole.
Hey guys, I've got a bit of an issue here.
Glenn, what is it, mate?
Mate, it's pulling hard right. It feels like a seized brake caliper with the brakes gone spongy. Mate, I'm going to stop here.
We probably should have a look, brother.
Hang on, I'll come back for you.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, hopefully something simple.
What's up, mate?
Mate, it's pulling hard to the right.
Oh, look, I'm not surprised. There's a bit of an angle on this wheel. Ooh, she's...
What it is.
Ooh, I wouldn't be touching... Look at that.
There's some scuffing on the outside of the disc rotor.
We got something pretty severely wrong here, mate. What do you reckon? Wheel bearing, maybe?
I'd probably say a collapsed wheel bearing or it's come loose or something, mate.
Okay, we'll start with wheel bearing. That's our best option, isn't it, when the wheel's on a funny angle?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to jack her up?
Mate, I'll jack it up here.
Okay.
Well, it looks as if the Land Cruiser's suffered a bit more than panel damage on this trip. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It could just be a collapsed wheel bearing. Could be worse. There's only one way to find out, and that's to rip in and have a look.
Whoa, bit of temperature there, Glenn, eh?
It's only just happened because the brake pad hasn't worn out.
That's our life.
Glenn has a go at breaking the seal on the hub, and before long he's got it apart. The only problem is, once he gets in there, he realises quickly it's not just the tabs that are bent over, something's gone wrong with the stub axle. Now the nuts have actually come loose, the bearing's been running that loose and it's distorted the end of the stub axle. And that's why we're having trouble driving the nuts off.
Stub axle gone, mate.
Stub axle.
Bruce, anyone in the locality you can call? Maybe we need to track down the whole assembly, I think. Stub axle, bearing.
Lock nuts.
Lock nuts.
Yeah, we might, we've got a couple of guys' names we can ring. There's a wreckers back in town, so...
Because it's a weekend too, isn't it? Let's make some calls, see what we can do.
Sometimes the most difficult part of a situation like this is just the waiting. Before too long though, Donnie's called his partner Christy, who's been driving past the local wreckers as they were shutting the gates. They were able to pull a whole assembly off a 75 series. We might just be in luck.
I'll hold these bits.
I've got a fair few bits and pieces. Hopefully.
That looks better than
That
the one we got.
looks kind of right, doesn't it? Does it look kind of right? It's got 8 holes.
It does.
8 holes, a couple of flat bits.
Got a lifesaver.
Oh, let's go see if it fits. I'm kind of excited about this. Does it look the same?
No, different offset.
That hub. Bit of a bummer that. Slight difference. 10 mils worth of slight difference. We'll see how we go. We might bail out of this yet.
Mate, I'll make it worth their while.
You got one?
No, but he knows guys down the wreck as a caretaker.
Yep.
He's going to see him. He's going to get down the back himself and have a look for an 80 series and get something sorted.
Pretty soon we've got the whole team onto it. People are making calls left, right and centre. We've got the whole of Port Macquarie on the search for bits for an 80 series. All we need now is a bit of luck.
We got the wrong bits and it's just not happening. So we've only got a few hours of daylight left. What we're thinking, mate, while we're waiting for phone calls and waiting for bits, is the rest of the crew might go up here a couple of k's and see if we can find Bruce's wheel. If nothing else, that'll give us a cart and a beer to celebrate with when we do get your truck back together.
See if they got a spare spindle up there too.
All this and more we'll find out in the due course of time.
Just a bit further along is where Bruce lost the 35-inch wheel. Now that wouldn't matter too much, except that it's one of the ones he sold to Donnie, so we thought we'd try and help find it for him. You know, we're so lucky that state forests allow us access to tracks like these and to challenges like Heartbreak Hill. We did an article in the magazine not long ago. Do you know that since 1990, the number of national parks have increased from 68 to a whopping 194? When you also include reserves, parks and conservation areas, it brings to an incredible 822 parks in New South Wales alone. This would be great, except when something becomes a national park, it means four-wheel drivers are robbed of their tracks. As long as it's state forest, we're right, we can get in there. People can still see the land they own. But once those national parks get in there, that's it. No reason, no compromise, no warning. You're out.
This is it just up ahead, Roothy, where I lost the wheel. We'll just stop here and see if we can find it.
So you lost it coming up here, mate?
Yeah.
What was it, front or back?
No, the back left.
Back left,
yeah.
So it went that way?
Went that way, yeah. I think there's some marks on the ground here somewhere where
you
the
stabbed?
Yeah. Yeah, here we are, here. Here's where the...
Oh, there it is.
Where the disc went.
So the wheel would have gone spur-spoing over there.
Somewhere in here.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
And you didn't go looking for it, mate?
It was 6 o'clock and I had to get out on a half-flat other tyre.
Yeah.
So I had a quick look, but then I thought I'll come back another day.
I reckon it would have punched itself a nice little hole through the bush. Tracking a wheel in the bush can be just like tracking a kangaroo. There's marks on the ground, you just got to follow them. Ooh, boy, there he goes, into that thick bush.
Ruthie, I'd rather buy my own cart than continue walking around in there.
I see you got caught by the waiter wall a few times.
did.
I've heard about bleeding for a beer, but... He's got it. He's got it.
Is it okay?
That's all right, mate.
Yeah, it's not even plugged out.
I was 5 metres away from that.
For the cart, no, you've got to push it all the way to the top.
Oh, you're joking.
That's unbelievable. Well done. Way to go. Oh, that's as bald as your spare.
Yeah. It's only a spare, but the rim's worth a few
The
dollars.
rim's worth a few bucks. Too right. Well done. All right. On your Dan. Hey.
Beers are going to go down good now, mate.
Oh, too right, mate. I'll tell you what, I mean, you know, by the time we got Haddo's 80 on the go,
yeah.
and we got Bruce's truck's got 4 wheels now too. We're laughing, aren't we, really?
Oh, yeah.
Hey? Let's go and show Glenn.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with this, mate?
Well, we should be able to put it in the back.
Nearly done, Gleno.
Mate, last screw. We're done.
Oh, fantastic. You know, guys, one of the things I love about being a four-wheel driver is our four-wheel drive family. And this is a great example of the way it works. We got stuck, we needed a stub axle, we needed some nuts, you know, some bits and pieces. We're not that far away, but we might as well be because there was nothing open, nothing going on. Now, we went on the forum, we got a few phone numbers. Before long, there's 400 or 500 people. There's people from 200 and 300 k's away offering to come up here and, you know, stop at their mate's place on the way up and pull a few wheels off his truck and get us some parts just to get us out of trouble. And, you know, a big thanks to a whole lot of people, but especially Damien from Exile Automotive. He went right out of his way, and in the end, he's the one who pulled some bits off his mate's truck in his driveway and got them up here for us so that Gleno's 80's back on the road, and it's just too good, it really is. Thank you all. Thank you all for your interest, for your attention, and just thanks for being there. Tonight we're going to have a drink on your behalf. Good on you guys. Love the lot of ya. Wow, what an incredible way to end an incredible trip. The sun's shining, we've got this magnificent view. We've had
terrain that you needed a modified four-wheel drive to get through. In fact, you needed a four-wheel drive to see nearly everything we've seen. Now, one day, maybe the national parks will close it off, you know, bung up their stupid gates. But for the time being, this is a place you can come to. We've barely scratched the surface of the Port Macquarie Wauchope region, barely looked at all that this place has got to offer. There's so much here to see and many things to do too. And not only that, we got lucky. We found Bruce's wheel just back the track too. That's fantastic. That means we're in for a carton. I reckon we've got something to celebrate apart from the end of a good trip. And you know what I also reckon? I reckon you should pack the family into the Forby, come up here and have a look for yourself, because it really is spectacular country for people like us, Australians, to feel it, to love it, to enjoy it, every little bit of it. See you up here sometime.
Forget building your own set of storage drawers or paying well over $1,000 for a set elsewhere, and get your hands on a set of incredibly tough and unbeatable value for money Titan storage drawers. Our entire range of Titan storage drawers have been built to handle just about anything you can throw at them. All models of Titan double drawers come with an included built-in fridge slide on the left-hand side, saving you up to $200 compared to some other brands that charge extra for a fridge slide. Each drawer top also has these heavy-duty spring-loaded tie-down points to secure your gear on even the most corrugated roads. We've put them through their paces like none other. We've jumped on them, overloaded them with bricks, chucked an engine on the drawers at full extension, absolutely flooded them and used them off-road year after year to prove just how tough they are. The Titan 900 single drawer is perfect for those who have limited space to install a storage drawer. It has internal dimensions of 430mm wide, 790mm long, and 190mm deep. The Titan 900 double drawer setup is ideal for smaller wagons like Prados, Pajeros, and SUVs, with the internal dimensions identical to the 900 single drawer on each side. The Titan 1300 ute drawers are made specifically for vans and utes. The internal dimensions are 1200mm long, 430mm wide, and 150mm high. The 1300mm single drawers are also a cracking addition to the back of vans and utes. The internal dimensions are the same as the double 1300 drawers, but have an extra 40mm of depth, making them 190mm deep. And finally, for the bigger wagons like Land Cruisers and Patrols, the double 1070 storage drawers have internal dimensions of 880mm long, 470mm wide, and 180mm of depth. They come 95% pre-assembled, and all you need to install them is a couple of basic hand tools and a couple of hours on a lazy Sunday arvo. You can also add optional wing kits, both model specific and DIY, so you can finish off the back of your four-wheel drive and have plenty of storage available for your next adventure. Take your setup to the next level with the incredibly tough and unbeatable value for money Titan storage drawers.
If you're after a next level 12 volt upgrade for your vehicle or your next camping trip, then check this out. The Adventure King's 120 amp hour lithium battery. This uses high capacity, brand new grade A lithium iron phosphate cells capable of thousands of cycles. It's paired with a high quality BMS able to output up to 160 amps of current. The future of 12 volt setups is here. Lithium batteries are super lightweight and still have heaps of power capacity. In fact, this battery weighs just over 15 kilos. That's about half as much as a similar capacity AGM. But that's not all. Lithium batteries have the ability to use their entire capacity from 100 to 0% and still have an incredibly long life. The reason Adventure King's lithium batteries are so good is because they use lithium iron phosphate chemistry. That means if you're using the entire 120 amp hours of capacity in this battery every day, it would still last almost 5.5 years. Some cheap lithium batteries use grade B or even second-hand cells to keep the cost down, but not here. Adventure King's lithium iron phosphate batteries use brand new grade A prismatic cells. When these batteries are assembled, each individual cell is matched with others and then grouped. Then those cells are balanced, which means that these batteries always function at their best and ensure you have full capacity. Another major feature of these Adventure Kings 120 amp hour lithium batteries is the high quality internal battery management system. This BMS for short takes care of the individual cells. It balances them while you're charging your battery. It prevents overcharge, over discharge, over temperature and short circuits. A high quality BMS is so important, and it's also incredibly important to match the BMS to the cells and the use of the battery. A good indicator of a high quality BMS is to look for high current discharge and charge ratings. This battery is capable of charging and discharging constantly at up to 100 amps, and it can do a peak discharge of 160 amps of current. A high discharge current and a high peak discharge current are very important if you want to run things like inverters that need a lot of power when they turn on to fill the capacitors. If you're looking at a battery that has a much lower charge and discharge rate, they could be cost cutting by using a cheaper BMS. Lithium iron phosphate is a safe technology, unlike some other lithium chemistries, and Adventure Kings lithium batteries are doubly safe. Not only are they sealed and safe to use in your vehicle, they've also passed a short circuit test, overcharge test, over temperature test, and a vibration test, so they're ready to be put to use. Some lithium batteries are extremely sensitive to hot and cold temperatures, and they can be damaged or destroyed by trying to use them. Adventure Kings batteries though can be charged anywhere from 0 to 50 degrees Celsius and used or discharged anywhere from -20 right through to +60 degrees Celsius. They use threaded M8 terminals for high power output and easy connection. Measuring in at 330mm long by 162mm wide and 215mm tall, they fit perfectly in an Adventure Kings battery box for a lightweight and powerful portable power station. And with 120 amp hours on tap, you could run a camping fridge for 5 or even 6 days. Or you can permanently install them in your vehicle for a next level, super powerful setup that barely weighs anything. And for that reason, they're perfect for your four-wheel drive, motorhome, caravan, or camper trailer, where you need to be concerned about GVM and GCM limits. So if you want a safe, lightweight, super powerful, and super long-lasting lithium battery for your next level setup, you can't beat an Adventure Kings 120 amp hour lithium battery.
Introducing the incredible Adventure Kings Premium Camp Oven Stove. Your new best mate for delicious barbecue or campfire cooking and warm, cozy fires whether you're at home in your backyard or at your favorite campsite. Let me show you all the things that I absolutely love about it, and I'm sure you're gonna love too. This amazing bit of gear has been designed right here in Australia, and it combines a camping stove and a portable barbecue into one. It can run off multiple fuel sources: wood, heat beads, charcoal, briquettes, and more. When it's time to cook up a feast, you can fit 2 large pots or pans on this huge flat cooktop surface that measures in at 520mm long by 300mm wide. That's enough space to cook up a feast for the entire family. And because it runs on wood or heat beads, you can leave the gas bottle behind, one less thing to pack. And when you want a beautiful roaring campfire, use the included hook tool to simply lift the 2-piece lid off completely and just add in some more firewood. The raised enclosed design means you won't risk scorching your grass, your deck, or even your driveway. And you'll be able to use it for a beautiful warm fire at campsites that don't allow open ground fires. Plus, your firewood lasts longer because you're closer to the heat. Now that's cozy. The enclosed design means it's super efficient, and you can make the most of your fuel by directing the heat exactly where you want it. You can even adjust the temperature of your fire by varying the airflow. With these sliding vents on the side, a 2-piece removable lid on top, and an adjustable flue, you're always in control. Remove the entire lid for an open fire, or just this circular inner piece if you need extra heat for cooking, like searing steaks to finish them off. And this up here, now that is a real game changer. A chimney that extends over 2.4 meters off the ground to direct smoke away from your campsite for smoke-free campfires. You can even position the premium camp oven stove under your awning, your gazebo, or your shed for maximum warmth. And the angular offset chimney piece allows smoke to funnel away rather than getting trapped underneath. There's even a spark arrestor on top for good measure. There are so many more things to absolutely love about the King's Premium Camp Oven Stove. It's been designed to be super sturdy with these 4 large legs that extend the footprint a foot wider in both directions for excellent stability. The legs simply screw into the bottom like this, and you can remove the middle piece for a lower fire. This huge access door swings open with the included hook tool to allow you to easily refill the Premium Camp Oven Stove as required. Inside, you've got this fuel rack that keeps your wood or your charcoal up off the floor, maximising airflow and preventing wasted heat. It's a breeze to transport, set up and pack down too, with no tools required. Each of the 4 2-piece legs simply screw together and the chimney pieces pack into each other, with everything fitting into the main body of the Premium Camp Oven Stove for simple transport. Make sure you don't miss the incredible genuine cooking accessories available too, like a proper wood-fired meat smoker and a clever barbecue hot plate set to really take your camp cooking to the next level. And a stainless steel water boiler too. Whether I'm at home in my backyard or out camping with family, my mates, or even by myself, I absolutely love my Adventure King's Premium Camp Oven Stove. It's a portable fire pit, it's a wood or charcoal barbecue, and it's the centerpiece of every backyard get-together or camping adventure, and I know you're gonna love yours too.
Introducing the insane new Adventure King's 9-inch lethal LED driving lights. These things have an amazing combination of both spot and flood light. They have 21,840 lab-proven effective lumens per pair. That's over 2,000 more than the previous generation. Plus, they have huge light distance performance with 1 lux at over 1.3 kilometers. These are the LED driving lights that other lights wish they were.
You asked and we listened. You said you wanted even more flood of light out of your LED driving lights to light up the sides of the road, the highway and the tracks. We went back to the drawing board to redesign the lethal LED driving lights to produce exactly that. At the same time, we upgraded the lights to the ridiculously tough King's Laser Light die-cast aluminium housings and 3mm folded steel mounts. So not only are these some of the brightest LED driving lights we've ever sold, but they're also the toughest. How bright? Try a lab-proven 21,840 lumens per pair and 1 lux at 1,342 meters. That's real-world lumens too, not the theoretical lumens that some lights claim they produce. That's thanks to the genuine German-designed Osram LEDs for simply unparalleled light performance. We've also re-engineered the lethal lights with a new 5,185 Kelvin colour temperature. That means they're just a little bit more on the softer, warmer side. Still a clear, crisp white light, but that little bit easier on the eyes when driving long distances. And of course, you get all the features and quality you'd expect from Adventure King's driving lights, like polycarbonate lenses, the same stuff riot shields and fighter jet canopies are made of, and an IP68 water and dustproof rating, meaning these lights are waterproof to a depth of 1 meter for an hour. Plus, for the first time ever, they're rated to IP69K. That means they can withstand high pressure jets of hot water. That tough die-cast alloy housing features passive cooling fins and a waterproof breather for longevity, and they have the ability to run on both 12 and 24 volt, meaning they're suitable for everything from cars and four-wheel drives to trucks and machinery. Including the brackets, they measure 250mm high, 230mm wide, and 115mm deep. They have an attachment system that uses 2 8mm bolts on either side to positively lock them in place and prevent them from falling out of alignment. And of course, they use the same plug as all previous Adventure King's lights, which makes them an easy 10-minute upgrade. Just unplug your old lights, bolt the new ones on, plug them in, and you're ready to go. Add in a 2-year warranty and you've got a simply incredible set of lights that leave the competition looking a little underwhelming. The Adventure King's 9-inch lethal LED driving lights are the best value LED driving lights on the market. We've re-engineered them to be incredibly tough and incredibly bright. They'll turn night into day, and they're on sale right now for a price you have to see to believe.
You asked and we've listened. The incredible MT1 Go Anywhere camper trailer has just received an ATM upgrade to 2 tonnes. All new Adventure Kings MT1 camper trailers will now come with the new upgraded 2-tonne ATM. But don't worry if you already own an MT1, because a retrofit upgrade kit is available too. The MT1 is already an ultra tough trailer with a one-piece 150 by 50mm chassis that extends right from the drawbar all the way to the back of the trailer. Now it's even tougher with upgraded suspension, bearings, brakes and wheels to bring it up to a 2-tonne ATM. The brakes are upgraded from 10-inch to 12-inch electric brakes. The alloy rims are now rated to 2-tonne ATM. And an upgraded set of suspension arms also suit the upgraded ATM. And for existing owners, the retrofit upgrade is incredibly easy to do at home yourself. Everything just bolts onto the trailer with no modifications needed. That extra payload capacity means that you've got more ability than ever before to carry the gear that you need and still remain legal. For more information and full detailed specs on the MT1, see the 4-Wheel Drive Supacentre website. Now with a 2-tonne ATM upgrade, the Adventure Kings MT1 Go Anywhere camper trailer can carry more gear than ever before.